Hey, good morning, and this is Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. Pass the SAVE Act now. Pass the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act is about making sure legal citizens can vote in federal elections and illegal citizens, or non citizens, illegal people, illegal aliens, choose your term. It's about making sure that they don't vote in federal elections. It's federal law, and it's obvious that you should provide proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. Okay, so this is something I think the House Republicans should be, actually digging their heels into. And I'm not saying that. If you're going to shut down the government, this would be the hill to die on. Okay. This is a good reason to shut down the government. I think that this is an 80-20 issue. 80% of people support this thing. Voters support this thing here in America. Maybe like 20%. You've always got that 20%, the raging leftists who are like, it's racist and non-citizens should be voting in our elections. Most people agree non-citizens should not be voting in our elections. Good morning. I so do appreciate you tuning in. You can find me live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Rumble. Conservative Cat Show. Just type it in your search bar and you can find me pretty easy. Pretty easily. So subscribe to the channel. That really helps me out. And we've got so much to talk about today, so I'm going to just jump right in, if that's all right with you. The Daily Show, there was an interviewer, by the way. He's interviewing a bunch of black voters, so about 6 of them, half and half. 3 of them said that they were going to vote for Donald Trump. Another 3 said that they were going to vote for Joe Biden. Now, this interviewer on The Daily Show was just shocked. I mean, you should see how surprised he looks in this interview. And I think it's hilarious. He was surprised that black voters don't like Joe Biden and black voters all don't think alike, and some are going to be voting for Donald Trump. He was surprised by that. So we're going to be chatting a little bit about the Daily Show interview that took place. I'm going to talk a lot about the SAVE Act today because we're supposed to be getting that passed. I don't know if it passed out of the House now. They were supposed to vote on it yesterday, but I'm going to check it out and see where we're at. But this should be the thing that your congressman, and you should be emailing your congressman today, calling them, asking them to pass the SAVE Act, because if we have all these phony fake ballots out there, it really doesn't matter, if Joe Biden's running. Is he running? Who's his running mate going to be? Is there going to be a different candidate on the ballot other than Joe Biden? All of that does not matter if we've got a bunch of phony fake ballots out there. Okay. And without the SAVE Act, that's going to happen, unfortunately. So the SAVE Act needs to be passed now. We are going to be talking about a child tax credit in Illinois. Now, I know you're going to be like, oh, this is so boring, yawn, cat taxes. This is so important because this proves that the left hates you and that Democrats actually hate you and they think you're stupid. Okay, so Pritzker, he got out on social media and he was touting and he was like, yeah, 1.4 million children are going to benefit from the first ever child tax credit in Illinois. So there's a federal tax credit, and the one in Illinois now that he passed with his budget that he recently signed models the federal tax credit, the federal child tax credit. It models it. It's not exactly the same, but I sat down, I did the math. Okay, so these Democrats and leftists and politicians will get out there and they'll tout these big, tax credits. Really, what they're doing, they're actually throwing pennies at you. And they're like, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of pennies. We're going to tax you into oblivion. We're going to tax you on breathing. We're going to tax you to live. And I mean, they tax the sunrise, they tax the trees, whatever they can put a tax on, they do it here in the state of Illinois. I don't need to tell you that, gas tax just went up. So, he's touting this tax credit. And I did the math here, folks. kids, I mean, you get a tax credit every year on your taxes, and it's a $300 tax credit if you've got 3 or more children. Okay, so up to $300. So, and then if you've got 2 children, it's like $200, and if you've got 1 kid, it's like $170 or something like that. So, a year. So, I calculated this out. You're, like, getting 20 cents a day for each child, essentially. I mean, wow. Thank you, JB. Thank you. This is something we really, really needed, and this is just gonna lift everybody out of poverty in Illinois. Quite literally, that's what JB was saying. He was like, "This is gonna lift 1.4 million children out of poverty," or something to that effect, or it's gonna reduce. This was the exact study that he cited on social media. 3.3%. It's gonna reduce childhood poverty by 3.3%. I'm sorry, but if you give 20 cents a day to a child, okay, for 20 cents a day, okay, and you get this money every year. Maybe you can buy a new pair of shoes for new pair of shoes every year for your kid. Maybe, right? Most likely, I mean, 20 cents a day. This is going to put more food on the table. Bull crap. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's a total. It's just it's garbage. So we're going to talk about that here in the 6 o'clock hour. Let's start with the SAVE Act, though, because this is important and it's about making sure legal citizens are the only ones who are voting in our federal elections. So, like I said, all this talk about Biden, Joe Biden, is he going to run? Is he going to make it to November 5th? It really doesn't matter if we don't pass this SAVE Act because these phony, fake ballots are going to be out there. They just are. Okay, so, and here's what I mean by that. Here in Illinois in 2017, then Governor Bruce Rauner, he signed into law something called the Automatic Voter Registration Program, which means Illinoisans who apply for a driver's license, if you get a driver's license, you're automatically registered to vote. Okay, now there is an opt out process. It used to be a front end opt out process. So you go and you get a driver's license. Uh, they're supposed to ask you, they're supposed to, I don't know if they do, but they removed it from legislation this legislative session anyway. But there was a front end process where the person you're working with at the DMV, or if you apply online or however it goes, you're supposed to be prompted with, would you like to register to vote today through our automatic voter registration program? And um, they removed that process, the front end process. So there's really no way to opt out of it unless you know that that's the law, that- right? And you actively request a form to opt out, and then you send that form to your government. So it's really crazy because you're automatically registered to vote, which is just, we have a problem with uh, crowded, bloated voter rolls. We have very bloated voter rolls. So, like I said, Rauner enacted the law. Um, Now, that law excluded in 2017 temporary visitor driver's licenses, but Governor J.B. Pritzker in 2023, he signed legislation that allows non-citizens to apply and obtain a standard driver's license. Okay, so they're included in this. The non-citizens are able to opt into this automatic voter registration program. But the Secretary of State, they're going to tell you, oh, no, that's not, we're not registering illegal aliens because there's a back end process. We don't ask them to opt out, but there's a back end process on our end where we filter out the non citizens and they're not registered to vote. Okay. Okay. We know how terrible government is at their jobs. Okay. If you've ever had to send something through the mail, okay, you'd know how crappy the government is and how the process is, they're slow. Anything you try to get done through the government, it just takes you forever. Anyway, so Illinois has had this temporary driver's license program for a decade, and it allowed non-citizens that met certain criteria to obtain a license, and it noted not valid for identification across the top. Okay, so we've had temporary driver's license for quite some time, but now the 2023 law, with the standard driver's license, they've updated the top where it doesn't say not valid for identification, um, to say federal limits apply. So we've changed. I mean, their driver's license almost looks exactly the same. It is almost exactly the same as ours. It says federal limits apply at the top of the driver's license. And like I said, Illinois already has this automatic registration uh, in place. But this legislative session, and it's expected to become law, State Senator Ram Villavalam, he's a Democrat out of Chicago. He's got this bill out there, and it's probably going to be law. It got out of both houses. What it does, it expands this automatic voter registration to include real IDs. So these IDs that aren't for driver's license. So it expands the program. So this is just another layer for potential fraud. So we've got non-citizens. We've got almost an entire third world country coming over our border. We have an invasion happening right now. And now this bill, Ron Villalob's bill, what it does, it changes also the process where you go and you get either an ID or you get a driver's license. You are automatically registered to vote. Now, they don't tell you that you're automatically registered to vote. It just happens. Okay. They don't disclose that to you on the front end. There's a back end process where you have to jump through all kinds of hoops to not get registered to vote. And advocates say with the back end process, automatic voter registration, with a back end process instead of the front end process where you have to actively ask someone if they want to be registered to vote, individuals automatically are registered to vote unless they put in some extra effort, like filling out a form and then returning that in the mail and indicating that you do not want to be registered to vote. Now, let me ask you this, a non citizens here, non English speaking, are they really going to understand the law and understand that they have to go through this back end process? They have to act. So, no, they're not going to. And Ram Villavala, he said this. He goes, well, I introduced this because non English speaking immigrants are always put in these awful situations with government when they're interacting with government at the DMV, and it gets a little clunky. So here's a quote from the guy who introduced this. He goes, instead of having this hectic encounter at the DMV and they ask you the question to opt in or out of the automatic voter registration, we're just going to have everybody opt in. And then on the back end process, the Secretary of State is going to filter out the non citizens. Okay, okay. Trust the government. Don't worry. They're going to filter out the non citizens. Uh, only problem with that is, you've got these non-English speakers. People don't speak English and they often don't understand that they have to opt out. Okay. And if the Secretary of State, for some odd reason, that back end fails, which we know it will, and they don't actually filter out those non citizens, I mean, what if they accidentally get registered to vote? Then you're screwing over the non citizens because did you know it's illegal people who are non-citizens, if you register and or vote in our federal elections, if you register to vote, that is a felony. You will go to jail. You will go to prison. Okay. Possibly be deported. So at the expense of these people, Democrats are trying to steal the election. They're trying to inflate or bloat the voter rolls with all of these people. And they say, trust the government. Don't worry. We have a back end process. The Secretary of State is going to remove these people. But we're going to stop asking the people, the non English speakers, if they are citizens of this country because it's just too clunky and it's a hard, they have a hard time interacting in these situations. I mean, it's incredible. Anytime you get a job, you have to provide proof of citizenship, folks. And I'm worried that the House isn't taking this seriously. The US House is not taking this seriously, and they're not going to pass this SAVE Act. I have to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I've got so much to cover. I want to chat a little bit about the Daily Show interview where this interviewer was actually, he gasps. He's like, what? You guys don't all think alike? You black voters? You're all not voting for Joe Biden? Some of you like Donald Trump? How is that possible? So racist. I just can't even. But the Daily Show interview, we're going to cover that. So much more. You're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9.
By me, Ryan Scritchlow of Scritchlow Slabjacking. Here's some news. Most people wait until they trip and fall on sunken concrete before they call me. So call me before that happens, and I'll level with you on how to fix it.
The Normal Police Department announced Thursday in a press release the results of its stepped-up traffic patrols for the 4th of July holiday. In all, there were 79 traffic stops. Governor Pritzker touts his child tax credit as Illinois is among the worst for working-class families.
Pritzker touted that the measure, which was included in the budget he recently signed, would reduce childhood poverty, help Illinois' economy, and give back to families who need it most. State Representative Adam Niemerg pointed to the recent finance forecaster Kiplinger's analysis that shows Illinois is the worst place to live for middle-class wage earners.
We need to talk about reducing the income tax. We need to talk about property tax reform. We need to talk about all of these things.
Niemerg explained how he's in favor of reducing taxes, but he said the child tax credit program will not benefit Illinoisans as much as Pritzker says it will.
$300 tax credit for children if you make filing jointly under $75,000. And let's talk about middle class wage earners here in the state of Illinois that are really carrying all the water for the unlimited taxation that we have here.
I'm Katrina Peterson.
You can still make your donation for Seats for Soldiers campaign through the weekend by texting SEATS to 309-451-9299. News on the air, on the web, on your app, and on Alexa. I'm Tom Davis.
Here's the forecast on Cities 92.9.
Patchy fog, then mostly sunny today with the high near 85. Clear skies tonight, 67 the low. Chance of thunderstorms on Saturday with the high of 89. Saturday night storms in 72. Sunny and hot on Sunday with the high near 91.
Are you enrolled in Medicare or have a loved one that is? You may be leaving money on the table. Chris Bischoff Insurance Agency knows who qualifies for special programs like lower prescription costs, no coverage gap, and even money for groceries, rent, or utilities. Don't get a bunch of phone calls from random solicitors because you Googled Medicare. Call the expert, Chris Bischoff, your local Medicare insurance specialist, 824-4747 to see if you qualify. Call Bischoff Insurance Agency, 824-4747.
Good morning. This is Ryan Scritchlow, owner of Scritchlow Concrete Lifting and Slabjacking. Are you as disappointed as I am about the condition of our roads? Don't let your concrete at your home or business fall apart like our roads are. With proper care, your concrete surfaces will outlast our roads, and we can help. Give me a call at Scritchlow Concrete Lifting and Slabjacking, and we can lift and repair all of your concrete surfaces. If I can't fix it, I'll level with you, but I'll always give you an option to fix your problem. So look us up on the web at scritchlow.com. I'm Ryan Scritchlow, and I approve this message. Hey, it's me again. You know Ryan Scritchlow with Scritchlow Concrete Lifting and Slabjacking? Pretty sneaky to do back-to-back commercials, huh? Are you tired of that bump when you pull in your garage? Or has your patio settled and is causing water to get in your basement? Has your front steps settled and now your mother-in-law can't get in your house? Well, with one call to Scritchlow Concrete Lifting and Slabjacking, we can fix all of your sunken concrete needs. That is, if you actually want your mother-in-law to be able to get in your house. If I can't fix it, I'll level with you, but I'll always give you an option to fix your problem. So look us up on the web at scritchlow.com.
Join us for the first annual Epiphany Catholic School Golf Tournament at the Links at Ireland Grove on Friday, July 19th with a shotgun start at 3 p.m. Not a golfer? You can still help. Join us for a social after the tournament at Casper Brewing Company, featuring Dave Casper's beer and Jim Myrna's pulled pork. Register online at epiphanyparish.com/events. Be a part of the first annual Epiphany Catholic School Golf Tournament, Friday, July 19th at the Links at Ireland Grove, with all proceeds benefiting Epiphany Catholic School.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand. It's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products. It's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
A violent crime is committed every 24 seconds. The U.S. Concealed Carry Association exists to provide you with firearms education, training, and access to self-defense liability insurance. So when trouble comes, you'll be ready. Over 800,000 Americans trust the USCCA, and right now, there's an exclusive, limited-time offer for radio listeners. Go to defendfamily.com to get a free family defense guide, a survival secrets training video from a retired FBI agent, and see all the benefits of membership. Go to defendfamily.com now.
Sydney's 92.9 Sports.
What a series for the Chicago Cubs in Baltimore. They sweep the Orioles 3 straight, outscoring the Birds 21-2, including 8-0 last night. And Seiya Suzuki, with his first 3 extra base hit game in his major league career, 2 of those doubles went for RBIs. Cubs now move on to take their arch rivals on, the Cardinals, in St. Louis for a weekend set starting tonight. The Chicago White Sox are staying at home. They'll take on the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. That game, the rate at 7:10. I'm Chris Murphy, Cities 92.9 Sports. Hey, it's Chris Murphy. Listen for sports every morning on Cities 92.9.
Chris Murphy, who the hell is he?
Well, I watch the Illinois and St. Louis sports for Cities and maybe give some gambling information.
This guy, Chris Murphy, complete lowlife.
Well, yeah, that's true. But Mark's just mad because I cover Illinois and St. Louis sports and not his beloved Temple Owls.
Mr. Murphy, you creep.
For the teams you actually care about, listen for sports tomorrow morning on Cities 92.9.
You jerk, Chris Murphy.
I think somebody needs a nap.
Listen to you at Johnny weekdays right here from 5 to 8 on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal.
You're up to cat.
What's new, cat?
Cat class and I got cat style.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Good morning. Hey, this is Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. I'm live from 6 to 8. You can find me on YouTube. It's real easy. Just go to your search bar, type in Conservative Cat Show, and you'll find me. Subscribe to the channel. And we've got all kinds of news and updates for you on that channel. And when you're subscribed, it helps me out. So I appreciate it. Before we took the break, we were talking about the SAVE Act. And I've got a couple more things about the SAVE Act. And then I want to get to this story in the 7 o'clock hour. This is a remarkable story, tragic story, really. A man in Spain was beaten to death by North African migrants after he stepped in to protect a young girl they were sexually harassing. So he steps in, this guy named David. He's in Spain, and he's being condemned now by his family. So David died. These North African migrants bludgeoned him to death. He was beaten to death after he stepped in to stop this sexual harassment of this young girl. And now his family is condemning him for or condemning racism directed at the migrants responsible for his murder. Okay, so what they're calling racism. So David's family is now condemning racism directed at the migrants responsible for his murder. Actually, this is just a deplorable story. So we're going to get into it here in the 7 o'clock hour. Before I took the break, I was telling you a little bit about the SAVE Act. I want to wrap that up, and then we're going to talk about the child tax credit here in Illinois that models the federal child tax credit. It's important because it goes to show you that these Democrats and Governor J.B. Pritzker will sit there and tout and say, hey, I love you. Here's a couple of pennies. And this is how they remain in power, because people, because they're busy, it's not that because they're dumb, it's just because they're busy and they don't sit down and actually look at what's happening in the state when it comes to laws and how we're taxing Illinoisans and overtaxing Illinoisans. So when you hear, oh, tax credit, this is a good thing. Okay, sure, but it's pennies in the grand scheme of things. So when you look at the whole picture, so we're going to talk about that, the SAVE Act. I really hope that these congressmen, and I think that you should contact your congressman, let them know that you want the SAVE Act to be passed. We are approximately 115 days away from the election. I think it's 115 by now. But you see states like Illinois, Pennsylvania, California implementing things like automatic voter registration when you get driver's license, and non-citizens in these states are able to get driver's license, and they're going to be automatically opt-in to register to vote. Now, they'll say, oh, don't worry, there's a back-end process where the Secretary of State is going to weed out the non-citizens when they apply for a driver's license and get a driver's license. Don't worry. The government. Trust the government. But they've made it legal for non-citizens to get these IDs, these driver's licenses, IDs. Whenever you get any of that, you are automatically opt in to the voter registration, and you're on the voter rolls. Okay, so they claim that there is this back end system, but I'm not going to trust it. And there is going to be a perfect storm, and we should avoid any appearances of it trying to inflate or bloat the voter rolls, right? But no, they are out in the open with this thing. They are passing these laws. They've been passing them, and this is this is their plan. This has been their plan from the beginning because they have a deep fear that they're losing power and that they actually don't have the support of Illinoisans or Americans. And this is why they have to go against things and mobilize against the the SAVE Act. Okay, so they've actually come out and said, "Hey, we're mobilized. We are pushing back against the SAVE Act." That's what the House Democrats have said. That's what the Democrat Party is saying. You don't see them mobilizing to protect the southern border. You don't see them mobilizing to better our healthcare system. No, 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 no. They're using their full force, all of their energy to try to stop the SAVE Act. Now, Joe Biden, he has come out and said, well, when I say Joe Biden, I mean the White House, whoever's running Joe Biden, puppeteering Joe Biden, weekend at Bernie's Joe Biden. They said, the White House, they said that they'd veto the legislation if the House passes it, and if they wind up getting it passed through the Senate. They have the power of the purse, so I really hope that these congressmen in the House exercise their power and get this thing passed, because this should be top priority, because it affects everything. If you don't have elections with integrity, then you have nothing. Okay, so Joe Biden said he'd veto this legislation. And the reasons are, quote, "It's already law." Yes, it's already federal law that non-citizens can't vote in elections. And he said it would be a burden on the administrative processes. So it's already law. Let me speak to that reason. That's a stupid reason to cite because, for example, it's already law that somebody 21 or under the age of 21 can't go out and buy a drink. Okay. That's a law. That's like saying that requiring somebody under the age of 21 or somebody the age of 21 to show proof of ID to obtain alcohol is burdensome to the administrative process, or or because it's already law, we don't have to require ID. That's essentially what we're looking at here. He says, "Oh, because it's already law, we don't have to require proof of ID." Okay, then stop requiring proof of ID for people to get alcohol then. Okay, we have these things in place so that way we know our laws are being adhered to. And then he says burden on administrative processes. Oh, it's going to be harder for uh, your county to execute an election if they require voter ID. Silly, very, very silly, because you have to verify your signature anyway. And I think that you get rid of the voter, or I say have both of them, but if it's that much of a burden, right, get rid of the signature verification and just require the proof of ID. You have to sign something to get that ID, right? So I mean, I don't, the administrative burdens, excuse me, and administrative costs to execute this, and it's like, come on, stop funneling money into all of your advocacy groups and your nonprofits, and make sure a lot of times what the Democrats they'll say is, oh, it's racist, it's hard for somebody to get a driver's license, and that really pisses me off, because they say, oh, it's so hard to get a driver's license. You're the guys that you have the power to eliminate that fee. The only reason why it would be hard to get a driver's license is because there's a fee associated with it. It's like a $20 fee, $10 to $20 fee. Did you know here in the state of Illinois that we have prisoners, anybody in county jails, anybody in prisons, Illinois prisons, they are federal prisons. They are able, located here in the state of Illinois, they're able to get a driver's license for free, essentially, or an ID for free. And I'm just like, wait a second. So the criminals or the ex-cons or whatever, through this program that they have in Illinois, you get a free ID once you are, released on parole. And I have to pay like $10 to go get my driver's license. How is that fair? One. And it's like, okay, so you're giving all the criminals free IDs. Why don't you remove the fee that prohibits me from getting a driver's license? See, these people, and they're the ones in power. Okay. They're the ones who have the power to make it easier to get your driver's license. So to claim that, oh, it's too hard to require a driver's license or an ID because it's racist or it's too hard to obtain a driver's license. Well, you're the one who makes it hard if it is hard. So I do want to shift gears. Let's talk about the Black community and this interview that I saw this morning, and I just dropped my jaw. Can anyone name one thing that Joe Biden has done for the Black community during his presidency? No? How about one thing he's done in the past 50 years of his political career? 50 years. This guy has had a political career of 50 years. Nothing. He's done absolutely nothing. Thought so. We all know what Sleepy Joe thinks. If you don't vote for him, then you're not Black. Okay. You lose your Black card if you don't vote for him. There's nothing more cringe than this guy who's interviewing a group of Black Americans, and he acts surprised. He actually drops his jaw, gasps a little bit, and he acts surprised that some of these Black Americans that he asked, how you're voting, they said that they're going to vote for Donald J. Trump. And he was surprised because some of them may not vote for the whitest man that ever existed in the history of white men. And that's Joe Biden, okay? The Daily Show, this interviewer, focus group, they had Black New York voters, okay? This did not go as planned because 3 out of 6 of the Black voters said that they were going to vote for Donald Trump. So this is what the interviewer says. He goes, "We're an even split. I didn't see that coming." And he raises his eyebrows. "I think there's going to be a big shift. I've always been a Democrat." This is a Black voter in New York. He says, "For the most part, I'm with the Democrat Party. But they always make a bunch of promises they can't deliver." Yes. They use issues of the African American community as a soapbox to stand on, and they make promises just so they get us to come out to vote. Exactly. That's what a Black voter in New York had said. How could you vote for Trump? One Black voter voting for Joe Biden said, and then then the other Black voter goes, "How could you vote for somebody who's senile?" The fact that this interviewer was surprised proves that the left sees Black people as nothing more than a political pawn for the Democrat. Really, they when it comes to color, look at policy alone. Let's look at policy alone. If you were colorblind and based on policy alone, Trump would be the blackest president that ever existed in the history of white and Black presidents. This guy is blacker. Donald Trump is blacker than Obama at this point. Remember when Obama created or Biden created the opportunity zones to spur investment in predominantly Black communities? Oh, wait, no, that was Donald Trump. You remember the opportunity zones, and that was spurring investment. That was Donald Trump. Okay, but hey, at least Joe Biden is not affiliated with the 1994 crime bill that caused Black Americans to be incarcerated at extreme levels. Of course, Sleepy Joe had nothing to do with that. Oh, wait, no, that's his baby. If he did anything in his presidency, it would be the crime bill, the 1994 crime bill. That's his baby, and he's very proud of that, right? But it led to mass incarceration of Black Americans, by the way. But you remember Joe Biden, he signed the First Step Act, which allowed many prisoners to rejoin society. Oh, no, wait. That was Donald Trump as well. He signed the First Step Act. Duh. I'm sorry. I just haven't had enough coffee this morning. Okay. No. Trump signed that. And, fine. But at least Crooked Joe didn't keep people in jail longer than they should have been, including innocent people, to use them as cheap labor. At least Sleepy Joe didn't do that. I know Crooked Joe Biden didn't do that. That one definitely wasn't Joe Biden, though. It was his VP, Kamala Harris. Yes, it was his VP, Kamala Harris, who did that. Um, just absolutely incredible that Kamala Harris did that. I think it was during her time as the Attorney General there in California. She completely undermined the Supreme Court and tried to keep innocent people in prison longer than they should have been, or for cheap labor. So, what was the point of this interview on The Daily Show? To get Black Americans to not vote in their best interest? Does the left really think they're as dumb as them? Because I think they do. I think the left thinks that the Black community is dumb. I don't know what the point of this interview was. We're going to come back after the break. I got to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to chat more about this interview, but I also want to chat about Governor J.B. Pritzker on social media, touting that these children are going to be lifted out of poverty with quite literally 20 cents a day. Yes. Stay tuned. You're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal.
Cities 92-second news, brought to you by
Tax and Accounting Plus. If you're a business owner, you may feel like you're on a roller coaster, but something that can always be steady is your payroll and bookkeeping when handled by the team at Tax and Accounting Plus.
Mark Kloss officially filed forms to seek the District 10 seat in the McLean County Board for the November 5th, 2024 election. Mark is replacing Ross Webb on the ballot. Ross recently withdrew because of an employment opportunity that requires relocating out of the district. Governor J.B. Pritzker announced that Stellantis Belvedere plant is the recipient of $334 million in federal funding through the U.S. Department of Energy's Domestic Manufacturing Conversion Grant Program. The award also went to plants in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Indiana, Maryland, and Virginia, several of which are crucial for the November presidential election. A reminder, you can still make a donation to our Seats for Soldiers campaign through the weekend by texting our Jimmy John's text line, SEATS, to 309-451-9299. Your forecast is coming up next on Cities 92.9. The news and talk of Bloomington Normal. News on the air, on the web, on your app, and on Alexa. I'm Tom Davis.
Here's the Bloomington Normal forecast on Cities 92.9.
Patchy fog, then mostly sunny today with the high near 85. Clear skies tonight, 67 the low. Chance of thunderstorms on Saturday with the high of 89. Saturday night storms in 72. Sunny and hot on Sunday with the high near 91.
This weather report is lifted by DH Pace Garage Doors, residential and commercial garage doors and entry doors since 1926. Schedule service at dhpaceGarageDoors.com.
The Fox Business Report is from INB's new Lockbox Lite, making it easier for businesses to get their banking done.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
AT&T says a hacker downloaded call and text message information covering almost all of its wireless subscribers, about 109 million customer accounts. The company says most of the data was from 2022. It was downloaded in April, but there's no evidence it was shared publicly. The records, the company says, do not include personal subscriber information such as names, credit card data, or social security numbers. AT&T says it's working with law enforcement, and at least one person has been apprehended. Dollar General will pay $12 million to the Labor Department to settle safety violations in its stores. The issues involve blocked emergency exits, electrical panels, and fire extinguishers, and unsafe storage. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
If you had $1 million in 2009, today it would be worth less than $700,000. Thank you, big government. Hedge against runaway inflation with gold from Birch Gold Group. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. I trust Birch Gold, and you can too.
Text the word SHELTER to the number 989898 and get a free, no-obligation info kit on gold. Text SHELTER to 989898 today.
Hello? This is your lawn speaking. Look, it's time for you to start paying attention to me, or better yet, LKM Landscaping. I've got bald spots, and I'm not nearly as full and green as I should be.
LKM will also take care of me, your landscaping. I've been feeling pretty neglected too. I'm full of dead leaves, ready to grow those ugly weeds again, and the dog's old chew toys are everywhere. LKM is more than mowing.
They'll make sure I look good for spring and summer using the fertilizer formula they created themselves. It's why you see the LKM truck parked at the best looking yards on the block. Row over to lkmlandscaping.com and see just how good I can look.
Oh, and see everything you need for your landscaping too, including fresh design services.
Lawn,
landscaping,
pollen head.
Oh, go mow yourself.
LKMlandscaping.com for all services, photo galleries, and testimonials of happy lawns and landscapes, so you can be sure they both get the attention they deserve. LKM Landscaping, making every yard the best yard on the block.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and Cities 92.9 is making a difference in the community. So support the programs by streaming on the Cities 92.9 app, available on Google Play and the App Store.
Good morning. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. I so do appreciate you tuning in. And if you want to see me live in studio, go ahead and find me on YouTube. That's the Conservative Cat Show. You can just type it in your search bar. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, streaming live on Rumble. Just type it in your search bar, Conservative Cat Show. It's real easy. Subscribe. Really helps me out. Now, this morning I do want to talk a little bit more about the Black interview, the Black voters who were asked, are you going to be voting for Donald Trump or Joe Biden? And the interviewer was shocked to find out that Black people all don't think the same, and that some of them are actually going to be voting for the guy that, if you look at policy alone, was way blacker than Barack Obama. Okay. He did way more for the Black community than Joe Biden. Joe Biden actually hurt the Black community with the 1994 crime bill that caused Black Americans to be massively or just incarcerated in extreme numbers. And then I also told you about Kamala Harris. Okay, Kamala Harris is the one who, in her time as Attorney General, she repeatedly and openly defied the U.S. Supreme Court's orders to reduce overcrowding in California prisons while serving as the state's Attorney General. This is according to legal documents. I'm not making it up. And she's Joe Biden's VP. So come on, Democrats don't care about Black Americans. They actively promote policies that hurt them the most, no matter your skin color. If you want more violence, crime, poverty, and illegal immigration, which hurts Black Americans the most, by the way, then vote for Sleepy Joe. Okay. But if you want more money in your pocket, less crime, and less suffering, then you got to vote Donald Trump. People don't always vote for the person that serves them the best, which is why this interview exists. I don't know what the point of this interview really was. I really think that it's just to try to get Black Americans to not vote in their best interest. They didn't expect that some Black Americans they were going to say, oh, I'm voting for Donald Trump and I'm voting in my best interest this time. But look, there's only one candidate who fought to make lives better for all Americans, while the other candidate has spent their entire life, a political career in the last 4 years, destroying all of that and just making your lives miserable. And just because the left believes math is racist doesn't mean Black Americans can't see past their lies when things aren't adding up. They know there are a ton of broken promises. If Democrats spent as much effort into Black Americans, making them better off, and creating good policy as they do with identity politics and continuous virtue signaling, they might actually get something done for the Black community. But the fact is that this political party from day one, all the way back to the Civil War and slavery, they have been the ones, this party has been trying to destroy them. Okay, the Black community. And there's no amount of propaganda that can change that. I do have to take a quick break, but when we come back, you know who really hates Black Americans when you look at policy and policy alone, and you don't listen to what they say, but you look at what they do? It's Governor J.B. Pritzker. And this is a clear example of that. Governor J.B. Pritzker on social media touting that 3.3% of child poverty is going to, or there's going to be a reduction by 3.3% in childhood poverty, which he cited this study on social media. And he says that 1.4 million children are going to benefit from this first ever child tax credit in Illinois. I'm going to break it down because I've done the math, folks. And because math isn't, as if you believe math is racist, okay. But that doesn't mean I can't see past it. And Black Americans and people in poverty, poor white people can't see past this. Your lies aren't adding up, JB. So I'm going to be back on the other side. This is Cities 92.9.
You've seen the McLean County asphalt trucks improving the parking lots of businesses throughout McLean County. But what you may not be aware of is that they also do residential jobs. So if your driveway needs repairing, or if you're looking to finally pave that gravel and dirt path to your shed, schedule an estimate from McLean County Asphalt and Materials to stay out of the mud and ponds when the rain comes. With over 55 years of experience, you can improve the curb appeal of your home when you go to McLeanCountyAsphalt.com.
My name is Phil Rankin, first generation owner-operator of Route 9 Red Angus. I do have a full-time job, and then I farm after hours, grain farm with the lights on. I talked to 3 different John Deere dealerships, and I said, I'm starting from scratch. It seemed like Prairie State didn't care if I had 1 garden tractor or if I have 50 tractors. It's the same service. I feel like you're heard no matter what, and they're always on top of it.
Hi, I'm Dr. Justin Hillman, owner of True Health Chiropractic and Disc Centers of America, Bloomington. I've been a chiropractor for almost 20 years and have always specialized in cutting-edge technology to help my patients get better and stay healthier. I have been awarded numerous awards for my advanced study in spinal decompression. If you have a herniated or bulging disc, numbness or tingling in your arms or legs, or severe neck or low back pain, we can help you. True Health Chiropractic and Massage offers an affordable, non-surgical approach to dealing with these problems with the best and most advanced equipment and a staff that is nationally certified and trained to get you the best results.
I used to struggle with chronic back pain until I found True Health Chiropractic and Massage. After working with Dr. Hillman and his team, I'm able to get back to doing the things that I love, completely pain-free. Thank you, True Health Chiropractic and Massage, for helping me get my life back.
If you're in pain, don't wait any longer. Call True Health today. We can help you get your life back.
The news is brought to you by me, Ryan Skritzel of Skritzel Slab Jacking. Here's some news. Most people wait until they trip and fall on sunken concrete before they call me. So call me before that happens, and I'll level with you on how to fix it.
Illinois U.S. Representative Eric Sorensen joins the crowd of Democrats on Thursday calling for President Joe Biden to drop out of the race. More calls from more Democrats for Mr. Biden to withdraw continued after Thursday night's news conference, during which he notably referred to Vice President Kamala Harris as Vice President Trump. Members of law enforcement will be participating in a charity bike ride across the state to honor officers who died in the line of duty, a 20th annual cycle across Illinois is underway and will continue through Sunday as participants ride from Edwardsville to Chicago. The event benefits Illinois Concerns of Police Survivors, or COPS for short, an organization that supports police departments and their families in times of mourning. A reminder, you can still make your donation for our Seats for Soldiers campaign through the weekend by texting our Jimmy John's text line. Text SEATS to 309-451-9299. Stay tuned. Your forecast is coming up on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. News on the air, on the web, on your app, and on Alexa. I'm Tom Davis.
Woohoo! Tom Davis, thanks for the news. Yes, today it looks like it's going to be a little rainy. It could rain, 30% chance of rain today. 87 for the high today, and 68 for the low. Beautiful weekend, though. It's going to be pretty hot this weekend. It's going to get up into the 90s by Sunday. And then we get back to work on Monday. It's going to be pretty hot. And then on Tuesday, thunderstorms. So be on the lookout for that, folks. All right. Before I took the break, I was telling you a little bit about Governor J.B. Pritzker on social media touting this child tax credit. Now, this is the first ever child tax credit in Illinois. There is a federal child tax credit. This is the tax credit where if you have, 1 kid, 2 kid, 3 kid, you get more money back. Or you get more money back from the government when you do your taxes. Okay, so the Illinois lawmakers, they approved a tax credit of up to $300 for families with young children as part of the new state budget that was recently signed by Governor J.B. Pritzker and passed at like 4 a.m. in the morning by the legislature. But now the governor here, he's touting this credit, and he's saying that this is going to give back to families who most need it. And this is what I'm talking about when Democrats are like, yeah, go out there, vote for me. We're reducing poverty. We're helping the Black community. And we're helping our economy, and we're giving back to those who need it most. Okay, so quite literally, this is what he said on Twitter. And I live for the JB tweets. I don't know about you, but I've got them like on my, I've got like a little fitness watch, and I get like notifications every time he tweets, and I'm like, ooh, Pritzker tweet. Is it going to be about abortion? No, this one was actually reducing childhood poverty, helping our economy, and giving back to those who need it most. And, I started looking into the tax credit and how much people were actually going to get back. And I'm like, wait a second, this is like pennies, quite literally a day for families who are overtaxed. And if the governor is serious about limiting taxes on those who really need it the most, we need to have a serious conversation about reducing the income tax, property tax reform. You're taxed when you buy a car. You're taxed when you live in your home. You're taxed if you die. Your children get taxed on things that you leave behind, the inheritance tax, right? So the state, they have a $53 billion budget. I'm going to chat a little bit more about this tax credit next. You're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. Find me on YouTube.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go? I did. I got the job. I can't believe it. I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. Feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Bloomington Normal's most complete radio news starts now with Fox Radio News on Cities 92.9, WRPW, Colfax, Bloomington Normal. It's 7 o'clock.
Business as usual. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Biden gets his daily briefing this morning, then heads to Michigan for a campaign event after saying repeatedly at his first solo news conference of the year, wrapping up a NATO summit in D.C., that he's the most qualified person for the job and the most qualified to beat Donald Trump in November.
Running for a second term, the president says, is not about his legacy.
And because, look, I got more work to do. We got more work to finish. There's so much, we made so much progress. Think about it.
Dismissing concerns from a growing number of Democrats urging him to drop out of the race, President Biden says he's unlikely to change his mind.
No, unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win.
But the president says no one and no poll is saying that. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Nevertheless, it's now 18 Democrats in Congress saying the president should let somebody else be the nominee. South Carolina Senate Republican Lindsey Graham on Fox.
We need the president of the United States to take a neurological exam, and here's why he won't. He will fail it.
The president says tests as recently as February show that he's in good shape neurologically. Former President Trump's legal team has filed for the dismissal of his criminal indictment and conviction in New York, saying last week's Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity means some of the evidence should not have been allowed. A heat wave in the West lingers on. More than a dozen deaths in Santa Clara County, California this month are being investigated as heat-related.
Valley Health System ER physician Grant Lipman says the body's inability to cool can lead to heat stress and heat stroke.
When people walk out into these really intense temperatures, one of the body's reaction is that you have a shunting of blood from the core to the periphery to try to cool down.
County officials say the need now is to raise awareness in older residents or those with small children.
KTVU TV's Jesse Gary. There are still more than 1 million power outages in Texas since Hurricane Beryl Monday. At least 2 flood deaths are reported in Vermont. America's listening to Fox News.
Gary Paget, the second enlisted in the U.S. Navy and deployed multiple times to Iraq and Afghanistan until Jerry was catastrophically injured in an improvised explosive device blast. Now, Jerry received a new smart home thanks to our friends at the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Now, the home is in the foundation's Let Us Do Good Village. It's in Florida, and Jerry now lives more independently thanks to the specially adaptive technologies. Commit to $11 a month, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Cities 92 Second News, brought to you by
Tax and Accounting Plus. If you're a business owner, you may feel like you're on a roller coaster, but something that can always be steady is your payroll and bookkeeping when handled by the team at Tax and Accounting Plus.
The Normal Police Department announced Thursday in a press release the results of its stepped-up traffic patrols for the 4th of July holiday. In all, there were 79 traffic stops. Governor Pritzker touts his child tax credit as Illinois is among the worst for working-class families.
Pritzker touted that the measure, which was included in the budget he recently signed, would reduce childhood poverty, help Illinois' economy, and give back to families who need it most. State Representative Adam Niemerg pointed to the recent finance forecaster Kiplinger's analysis that shows Illinois is the worst place to live for middle-class wage earners.
We need to talk about reducing the income tax. We need to talk about property tax reform. We need to talk about all of these things.
Niemerg explained how he's in favor of reducing taxes, but he said the child tax credit program will not benefit Illinoisans as much as Pritzker says it will.
$300 tax credit for children if you make filing jointly under $75,000. And let's talk about middle class wage earners here in the state of Illinois that are really carrying all the water for the unlimited taxation that we have here.
I'm Katrina Peterson.
You can still make your donation for Seats for Soldiers campaign through the weekend by texting SEATS to 309-451-9299. News on the air, on the web, on your app, and on Alexa. I'm Tom Davis.
Cities 92.9.
Patchy fog, then mostly sunny today with a high near 85. Clear skies tonight, 67 the low. Chance of thunderstorms on Saturday with a high of 89. Saturday night storms at 72. Sunny and hot on Sunday with a high near 91. You're never more than 20 minutes away from the latest Central Illinois weather forecast, guaranteed. Rain, shine, or snow, it's your dependable weather on Cities 92.9.
From the Johns in Lexington studio, don't be fooled by corporate preferred list. Tell your insurance company you chose Johns in Lexington, preferred by their customers, not insurance companies. Cities 92.9. Your hometown conservative talk show focused on bringing you exclusive stories from across the nation. She goes where mainstream media refuses. Brought to you by McLean County Asphalt. They've been repairing driveways for more than 50 years. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9.
Come and break these keys, make them face these cleats. Welcome to the
Yeah, I love that song. That's a great song. Hey, good morning. It's Conservative Cat from 6 to 8. So we're in the last hour here of Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. Before I took the break, I was telling you about the governor and how he wants to cite this income tax credit as the end all be all. And he says that this is going to reform childhood poverty and blah, blah, blah. It's just completely false to come out and say that this is meaningful for Illinoisans. It's just not when you break it down. Okay, so what are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about a $300 tax credit for children if you make under $75,000 and you're filing jointly. So that's two people, and you both combined, your salaries cannot exceed $75,000. Okay, so we're talking about not middle-class wage earners here in the state of Illinois, the middle-class workers, the working-class workers who are carrying all the water for the unlimited taxation we have here in Illinois. But okay, let's look at the impoverished. At this rate, it's people in poverty that this tax credit is for. Okay, sure. Governor J.B. Pritzker said this is reducing childhood poverty, helping our economy, and giving back to those who need it most. It's just incredible because I'm looking at the numbers here and it just doesn't add up. So for your 2024 income taxes, if you are eligible somehow for this, because there's a lot of eligibility requirements. You have to have kids, you have to be jointly filing. If you're filing as an individual, you have to make less than, I think it's like 50,000 or something like that, and you have kids. And if you're filing as a single person, you have to make less than 50,000. But for your 2024 income taxes, and you do your for your taxes on your 2024 income, the tax credit is going to cap at just over $300 for filers with 3 or more children under the age of 12. So your kids have to be under the age of 12. So therefore, there's already a strict requirement there, an eligibility requirement that a lot of people in poverty might not fall into. Maybe you have a couple of teenagers, right? And then you don't get that money for your teenager. But then taxpayers with 2 children, they face a cap of $270. So you get $270 at the end of the year. Back, by the way, this is not like extra money because the Democrats will say, oh, this is extra money. No, it's not. It's your money that you could have been investing. And therefore, it's worth even more than those 270 that you're getting back. But they are claiming that, oh, it's extra money in your pocket. It's not extra money in your pocket. They're just giving it back to you. And they're not even really giving it back to you because at the same time, they're increasing taxes by $900 million in this state. So math doesn't really add up there. But anyway, so taxpayers who have the 2 children, they face a cap of $270. So you get that back at the end of the year. $270. Then if you've got 1 kid under the age of 12, you get $170. This tax credit is a drop in the bucket, and there needs to be real reform. We need to look at the taxation and the overtaxation in this state. You are taxed on the sunrise. You're taxed on the trees. You're taxed on how you breathe, essentially, in the state of Illinois. We have some of the highest taxes in the nation, if not the highest taxes in the nation. Kiplinger, you heard in the news, their analysis says that Illinois is the worst place to live for middle class wage or middle class wage earners. Okay, so if you are, that's not a whole lot of money, $75,000. I mean, that's just it's insanity. This isn't really going to help a whole lot of people. He claims 1.4 million children are going to be lifted out of poverty. So when you break this down, you're looking at about $100 maybe, and it's up to $300. So maybe you get $100 at the end of the year back on your income taxes. You divvy that out, and it equates to like 20 cents a day per child. Okay, so you get maybe 20 cents a day for a child for that year. I mean, with that 20 cents, if you pull it all together for, about a month, maybe you'll be able to buy a black Starbucks coffee. No whip, though. No whip, because you don't have enough money for the whip. When I was a kid, I'd wait for my dad to sleep on the couch. And what we would do, my brother and I, we'd go and we'd dig into the couch cushions to find the change that would fall out of his pocket. That's essentially what this is. Okay. So claiming that this is going to reduce childhood poverty by 3.3%, I just think is ridiculous. I mean, how do you come up with that number? How do you pitch this as like, hey, this is the next best thing since sliced bread? All the while, he's taxing you into oblivion. So there's really no point in touting this tax credit if you're going to tax people into oblivion. Okay, so proponents like Senator Mike Simmons, a complete rabid senator here in the state of Illinois, says that the tax credit is going to be, quote, extra money every year to put food on the table, pay rent, and help with childcare expenses. Does anybody do these people, are they that out of touch where they don't understand how much all of these things cost? Like 20 cents a day is not going to be able to pay for childcare expenses. Do you know how much money it costs to put your kid in daycare? It's like $30,000 a year average. Then I'm being modest and conservative with that number. Okay, so this is just what peeves me off, because they think you're dumb and they're throwing pennies at you all the while. I mean, they're probably going to have to increase income taxes because they don't have any money anymore, the state, to pay for all of these programs that they've implemented back in COVID times when they had all of the federal tax dollars coming in. They don't have any money anymore, and they created all of these programs. Now they're scratching their head wondering where the money's going to come from. And of course, government isn't in the business of creating a product and making money an honest way. They take it from you. They take the money from you. So they had to increase taxes this year. Adam Niemerg, he said this: we had to increase $900 million in new taxes, and that we had to do that because we had to fund the illegals. That's where the tax dollars are going. So let's stop funding illegals and let's give that money back. Let's give that money back to Americans and to people who are facing poverty. All right, I do have to shift gears. I want to talk about this story. It's tragic. And I don't care where you come from or what you've been through. If you attempt to sexually assault someone, especially a young girl, and then, murder anyone trying to stop that and trying to stop you from sexually assaulting or harassing this young girl, you don't deserve any decency. Okay, so this story comes out of Spain, and I came across the desk, and this is wild. And it's tragic, really, because leftists, they're so beholden to their foolish ideology. They're fools, and they are so beholden to this ideology that we've got one family here in this story who's worried about racist remarks. They're more worried about these racist remarks than the fact that their beloved family member is dead. So a story as old as time. Leftists, they open the floodgates for all these migrants to come in. Subsequently, the murder rate goes up. Now, I'm not saying that all migrants commit murders, but I am saying that some migrants commit murders, like it was in this case. Subsequently, after opening the floodgates, letting the migrants come in, the murder rate goes up. Several Moroccan migrants allegedly murdered a Spanish man trying to save a young girl from being sexually assaulted by these barbaric, but really they're barbaric animals. And I call them animals and I use that term because they are subhuman. If you're going to sexually assault a young girl and then turn around and murder somebody who's trying to stop you from doing that, then you are an animal. Okay. I don't mean any offense to animals out there because these people are very subhuman. But now the family of this guy who died, who stuck up for this young girl and tried to stop the sexual assault, the family has this weird issue with people turning around and saying racist things about the migrants, which they're not really saying racist things about the migrants. Now the family has the illogical nerve to victim shame the deceased, a heroic man, the family of this man who was heroic, as they are more worried that the migration rate will decrease due to his death. They don't want the migration rate to decrease due to his death. And that's exactly why I label and I always say that they are a death cult. They don't care if the migration and the illegal immigration leads to more death. They care if there's a reduction in the immigration rate. Okay, so a man in Spain, let me get all of the facts down here. A man in Spain beaten to death by North African migrants after he stepped in to protect a young girl who they were sexually harassing, the migrants. David Ledito, I think I'm saying that correctly. His family is now condemning racism directed at migrants responsible for his murder. So the migrants turned around and murdered him because he stuck up for this young girl and protected the young girl. So here's the story. A man died following a brutal bludgeoning by these migrants in a small Spanish village. The attack is said to be in retaliation by migrants against 39-year-old David Ledito for defending this minor girl. She was being sexually harassed, sexually assaulted by these migrants. Witnesses report that the assault on David occurred in a blink of an eye, so very quickly, leaving the man with no time to even attempt to escape or defend himself 3-on-1. Only one of the 3 migrants remain in custody, so I don't know where the other 2 are. At the same time, or at the time of the attack, the aggressors were squatting at a luxurious 2-story villa with a swimming pool in a nearby residential housing development. So the men destroyed the villa, breaking windows, leaving garbage everywhere. Speaking to Spanish media, a young man from the village said that the attack was inevitable and that everybody in the community was expecting this to happen. They were anticipating something like this to happen. Quote, the worst of it all is that you could see it coming for weeks. This is what the man said to the Spanish media, a bystander. And he said they were behaving aggressively, chasing girls, and fighting every day. But people like this family condone that behavior and give migrants a free pass for nearly everything they do. And there's nothing that can be done once progressives label this group as victims. Okay, so we've got this family. Despite the horrific crime, David's family has issued statements condemning any racist sentiments toward the migrants, which I feel like is like your last worry. I mean, your loved one is dead, died tragically, was murdered by these people. And it's not racist to say that we need to get control of immigration here in your country in order to avoid more murders like this. But David's family issued all of these statements condemning racism towards the migrants. They even condemned a local rally in memory of David, during which some residents criticized the migration that's been going on that allowed the Moroccans to enter their community. See, migration isn't just an issue here in the United States. This is going on in Spain, everywhere. When America is hurting, every country hurts. So one of the reasons that migrant crimes are so infuriating is that because they're 100% preventable. They shouldn't be there. They shouldn't happen in the first place. But you can't say that because, you're xenophobic if you say, look, all migrant crimes are preventable. They shouldn't be here in the first place. The left sees this as more of, there's just cultural differences. Okay, there's just cultural differences. But look, not all cultures are equal. as evidence by these barbaric acts of these migrants. Okay, so if it's their culture to go out and bludgeon somebody to death because he says, "Hey, stop harassing that young girl," then I don't want you around. Okay, and that's not racist to say. If that's your culture, and if you're cool with murdering people, and if your culture allows for that, then see ya. I don't want you around. Okay, and I don't really give two hoots about your culture. Uh, they weren't even held accountable for trespassing, taking advantage of the system. They were squatting. Uh, they basically came to Spain. These migrants, these Moroccan migrants, came to Spain to cause trouble, and some of that trouble included murder. Can you imagine? By the way, losing a family member. I don't understand this. Imagine losing a family member and being concerned that the tragedy could have an effect that might lessen the possibility of that happening again. They're worried that it's going to decrease migration. And if you decrease migration in that country, then most likely that's not going to ever happen again, where you've got Moroccan migrants beating on somebody. Okay. I can't imagine losing a family member and being more concerned about the racist sentiments, so-called racist sentiments, and the calling for decreased migration. How can you be concerned with increasing the migrant rate at this point? How can they be concerned that that this is going to have an impact on the increased migration rate? To call that delusion would be an understatement. I really don't know how to describe this. Maybe we can call it some sort of form of Stockholm syndrome. I'm unsure, really. Somehow the Democrat Party has made it to where these people are so delusional that they're willing to overlook a tragedy that could be prevented by decreasing migration and call for more migration. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Rather than honor the man who died, a hero, this family decided to turn it political and put out statements, hey, we don't want decreased migration as a result of this tragedy. It's so disgusting. And how about the girl they tried to hurt? Does this family even care about that? Because I don't think they do. And for the record, it's not possible to be racist to these people, as you can't be racist to barbaric animals who assault young women and murder people. Okay. But even if it was, doesn't matter because they're evil. Okay. So this is just such a tragic story. I had to share it with you. When we come back, I do want to talk about this interesting take from a former Hillary Clinton staffer. So in his Twitter bio, he talks about how he worked on the 2016 Hillary Clinton campaign, and he's got this brilliant idea for Democrats. His light bulb went off and he goes, okay, we should be using AI to help Joe Biden regain some of his youthful vigor and try to make him appear more youthful. Yes, this is something that Democrats are going for. When does gaslighting become outright fraud? Like, just like you're just going to use AI to try to help Joe Biden regain some of his like youthful vigor and make him look younger than what he really is. Absolutely incredible. All right, I got to take a quick break. You're listening to Conservative Cat. Find me on YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel today. That's the Conservative Cat Show. Just type it in your search bar, Conservative Cat Show. I'll be back.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
The news is brought to you by me, Ryan Skritzel of Skritzel Slabjacking. Here's some news. Most people wait until they trip and fall on sunken concrete before they call me. So call me before that happens, and I'll level with you on how to fix it.
Mark Kloss officially filed forms to seek the District 10 seat in the McLean County Board for the November 5th, 2024 election. Mark is replacing Ross Webb on the ballot. Ross recently withdrew because of an employment opportunity that requires relocating out of the district. Governor J.B. Pritzker announced that Stellantis Belvedere plant is the recipient of $334 million in federal funding through the U.S. Department of Energy's Domestic Manufacturing Conversion Grant Program. The award also went to plants in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Indiana, Maryland, and Virginia, several of which are crucial for the November presidential election. A reminder, you can still make a donation to our Seats for Soldiers campaign through the weekend by texting our Jimmy John's text line, SEATS, to 309-451-9299. Your forecast is coming up next on Cities 92.9. The news and talk of Bloomington Normal. News on the air, on the web, on your app, and on Alexa. I'm Tom Davis.
Here's the Bloomington Normal forecast on Cities 92.9.
Patchy fog, then mostly sunny today with a high near 85. Clear skies tonight, 67 the low. Chance of thunderstorms on Saturday with a high of 89. Saturday night storms at 72. Sunny and hot on Sunday with a high near 91.
McLean County Asphalt and Materials has been helping businesses and homeowners improve their curb appeal since 1964. Whether you're in need of mulch, decorative stone, Unilock pavers, or granite boulders, the team at McLean County Asphalt and Materials is here to help you. You don't need to have a big truck or know someone who does, because McLean County Asphalt and Materials will deliver the material right to your job site. Get started now with their materials calculator at McLeanCountyAsphalt.com.
Craving a quick, satisfying meal? Rob Dobbs has you covered with their new fast casual lunch specials. For just $14, enjoy our Pick 2 lunch combos with a half sandwich, half soup, or half salad. Or choose one of Rob Dobbs' other great specials, including a tasty bratwurst on a bun with fries, a superb summer salad, or 3 delicious beef sliders. Available every day from 11 to 4. Get a fast lunch at a great price when you're craving some delicious food. Visit RobDobbsBN.com now to see our new lunch menu. Rob Dobbs, casual dining for the whole family.
For eligible individuals, 18 and older only. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
How are your hearing aids sounding now?
A little tinny.
Okay, 2 seconds.
With Jabra Enhanced Selects Premium Package, better hearing doesn't happen in a doctor's office. It happens at home, all done remotely from initial testing to adjustments.
How are they sounding now?
Fantastic. So much better. You get the same advanced hearing aid technology and professional support you expect from a clinic at a fraction of the cost. And if you have any issues, we'll make adjustments 7 days a week, no charge. Oh, you people are wonderful. Our premium package includes hearing aids, 3 years of follow-up care, plus a 3-year warranty with loss and damage coverage, and a 100-day money-back guarantee. I hear better than I ever thought possible. Save $300 on Enhanced Select 500 hearing aids automatically at checkout. Just go to JabraEnhance.com/try. That's JABRA Enhance.com/try. JabraEnhance.com/try.
Cities 92.9 Sports.
What a series for the Chicago Cubs in Baltimore. They sweep the Orioles 3 straight, outscoring the Birds 21-2, including 8-0 last night. And Seiya Suzuki with his first 3 extra base hit game in his major league career. 2 of those doubles went for RBIs. Cubs now move on to take their arch rivals on, the Cardinals, in St. Louis for a weekend set starting tonight. The Chicago White Sox are staying at home. They'll take on the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. That game, the rate at 7:10. I'm Chris Murphy, Cities 92.9 Sports. Hey, it's Chris Murphy. Listen for sports every morning on Cities 92.9.
Chris Murphy, who the hell is he?
Well, I watch the Illinois and St. Louis sports for Cities and maybe give some gambling information.
This guy, Chris Murphy, complete lowlife.
Well, yeah, that's true. But Mark's just mad because I cover Illinois and St. Louis sports and not his beloved Temple Owls.
Mr. Murphy, you creep.
For the teams you actually care about, listen for sports tomorrow morning on Cities 92.9.
You jerk, Chris Murphy.
I think somebody needs a nap.
You're listening to the Morning Buzz. Kat Peterson. Catch me, Dan Bongino, for the Dan Bongino Show at 11 today. I'm right after Glenn Beck on Cities 92.9.
Yeah, Rob's cat.
What's new, Cat?
I got cat class and I got cat style.
Good morning. Hey, it's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. Be sure to find me on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've got a lot of cool things over there. And I don't know, you might find it helpful. So go ahead, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's Conservative Cat Show. Just type it in your search bar. We are going to be talking about the SAVE Act a little bit later. And the SAVE Act is all about making sure legal citizens are the only people who can vote in our federal election. So the SAVE Act did pass the House yesterday. And I'm excited. I'm very excited. I hope that it gets through the Senate. I doubt it. I hope they use the power of the purse. I hope they use, whatever kind of political type, because this is the top priority. This is something Republicans need to dig their heels into, because this affects everything. You can't have anything without elections with integrity. And I think this is an 80-20 issue. Most people agree that non-citizens should not be voting in our federal elections. Oh, I don't know, because it's federal law. And the talk about Joe Biden possibly running, and who's Joe Biden's running mate? I think it's so hilarious. I got to try to figure out. This is so funny. Joe Biden, a quote from Joe Biden. I got to tell you, this guy is not okay. There's something going on with Joe. But a quote from Joe Biden, he was asked, there's concerns about your VP, being that you're older gentleman, there's concern that your VP is not qualified to become president if you were to die. And there's concerns about Kamala Harris's qualifications and if she'd be able to be a president. And Joe Biden says this, look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be the vice president because I don't think she's qualified. Like, what? So I posted a meme on my Facebook page. You can find me at Conservative Cat. I think you guys are going to really like it. So it's a meme that deals with that. It's quite funny. So we're going to talk about Joe Biden. But like I said, it doesn't matter if Joe Biden's running, who Joe Biden's running mate is. It doesn't matter if the SAVE Act doesn't get passed in the Senate here. And it doesn't matter if Joe Biden doesn't sign it, because he's already come out and said that he's going to veto it, which I don't understand why he would veto something so simple like the SAVE Act that requires proof of citizenship when you're voting in a federal election, especially considering federal law already says, hey, if you're a non-citizen, you can't vote in a federal election. So we're going to get to that here in just a second. But I was telling you guys about a former Hillary Clinton staffer. So the Huffington Post, I love going over there and checking out their opinion pieces. There is one published, and his name is Kevin Schroff, and he's calling for the Biden campaign to use artificial intelligence to help Joe Biden look like he's more youthful than he is. Yes, that's straight up fraud. Okay. When does gaslighting just become straight up fraud? So this Kevin Schroff, his bio, I look at his social media bio and it says that he worked for the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016. It says that he's got an MBA from Yale, a JD from Harvard Law School. So this isn't some random person I found on the internet calling for the Biden campaign to use AI to make Joe Biden look more youthful than he actually is. This is a political operative working in the field today. So Joe Biden, he screwed up the debate with Donald Trump, and the media and the Democrat Party, I repeat myself, they're all in a frenzy, and they're freaking out because they're caught with their own lies, or they're caught between their own lies and overwhelming evidence that there is, in fact, something wrong with Joe Biden, and he's not the man he used to be, and he's not fit to be president. Okay, so they're caught between the lies and the overwhelming evidence of this. And while people on the right, I mean, me, I've been saying that since 2020, 2019, we've been saying it for quite some time that Joe Biden is not well. Legacy media is acting like they're completely surprised that Joe Biden looks the way he does, acts the way he does, and how he's not fit to be president. Why? Maybe it's because they believed their own gaslighting or they believed their own lies. But in this piece, this Hillary Clinton 2016 campaign guy, this political operative who is a Harvard Law graduate, right? His piece, it repeats one of the longest running lies of all time. And this is that Joe Biden has a supposed lifelong stutter. Joe Biden does not have a stutter. It's weird. This guy has been in public office for what, 50 years? Okay. And I've never seen a trace of a stutter in his earlier years. Okay. He's been on a political stage since 1973. That's more than half a decade. Okay. So the stutter narrative is complete BS. There's no way that he's ever had a stutter. But even if Joe Biden did overcome a stutter at a young age and it returned at an old age, that's not what's plaguing him now. A stutter is not causing him to fall off his bicycle or fall down the stairs of Air Force One. So what's really what's really interesting is that nobody is talking about Special Counsel Robert Hur. He gave us an unsettling assessment of Biden. And he said this in his assessment: he is a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. Okay, we remember this. Weird. In this assessment, I'm not seeing the word strong, proficient, decisive, presidential. That doesn't appear anywhere in these Hur documents, the special counsel Robert Hur. So how did this legacy media respond to that assessment? Well, I'll read you some of the headlines. Hur was politically motivated. This is a partisan attack. He did it to bait the media. That's why he released this assessment calling Joe Biden a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Hur misled the country. Hur's report openly, obviously, and blatantly violated DOJ policy because the DOJ came out. I mean, Hur is special counsel Robert Hur. He came out with this assessment. There's another headline here. Kamala Harris calls it inaccurate and inappropriate. Okay, so the media has been calling Joe Biden sharpest attack. He says he's so sharp. The most recent gaslighting I've been talking about this week was the cheap fakes debacle. Okay, the White House press secretary coined the term in order to associate real footage of Joe Biden being a tottering old man as deep fakes or fake footage generated to fool the public. Okay, so this is what she put out there. She said any Joe Biden clip you see that's put out there, it's a cheap fake. Okay, anything that makes him look like he's an old man, it's a cheap fake. Don't believe it with your eyes. Okay, and the media repeated this over and over again. They said, "Oh, this is a cheap fake. This is a cheap fake." They repeated that lie so often. I think they thought somehow if they repeated it that often, it would make it true. Okay. But don't worry, this guy from Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2016, political operative, he fell for it too so hard that he still believes it. Okay. And he suggests bolstering Biden with actual deep fakes. And that is actually fraudulent. So this political operative is now calling for the legacy media to produce and for people to produce, like the Biden campaign, to actually put deep fakes of Joe Biden out there that make him look more youthful and young and vibrant. And he says it's justified because, Orange Man bad. This guy is a severe case of TDS, by the way. But this was posted in the Huffington Post. Like, this was published there. And I wonder how long it's going to take them to start doing this thing where they actually create AI clips of Joe Biden looking youthful. No matter how much you hate the media, believe me, it's not enough. You need to hate them more. You need to stay vigilant. You need to protect yourself against these legacy media. Listen to my show, Conservative Cat. You can subscribe on YouTube. I'm never going to gaslight you or try to lie to you ever. And I definitely am not going to call actual footage of Joe Biden cheap fakes. Okay. So I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I'm going to talk about the SAVE Act. It's very important that we pass this thing. It got out of the House, the U.S. House yesterday. So we'll be right back. This is Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9.
Cities 92-second news brought to you by
Tax and Accounting Plus. If you're a business owner, you may feel like you're on a roller coaster, but something that can always be steady is your payroll and bookkeeping when handled by the team at Tax and Accounting Plus.
Illinois U.S. Representative Eric Sorensen joins the crowd for President Joe Biden to drop out of the race. More calls from more Democrats for Mr. Biden to withdraw continued after Thursday night's news conference, during which he notably referred to Vice President Kamala Harris as Vice President Trump. Members of law enforcement will be participating in a charity bike ride across the state to honor officers who died in the line of duty. A 20th annual cycle across Illinois is underway and will continue through Sunday as participants ride from Edwardsville to Chicago. The event benefits Illinois Concerns of Police Survivors, or COPS for short, an organization that supports police departments and their families in times of mourning. A reminder, you can still make your donation for our Seats for Soldiers campaign through the weekend by texting our Jimmy John's text line. Text SEATS to 309-451-9299. Stay tuned. Your forecast is coming up on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. News on the air, on the web, on your app, and on Alexa. I'm Tom Davis.
The Bloomington Normal forecast on Cities 92.9.
Patchy fog, then mostly sunny today with the high near 85. Clear skies tonight, 67 the low. Chance of thunderstorms on Saturday with the high of 89. Saturday night storms at 72. Sunny and hot on Sunday with the high near 91.
The weather is being brought to you by Dr. Justin Hillman of True Health Chiropractic and Massage on East Washington Street. If you're in pain, contact True Health today.
This hour of the Morning Buzz is brought to you by Annie's Eats. Enjoy scratch-made sides, including Brandon iron beans and hand-cut fries. Call ahead for pickup. See their full menu of their award-winning barbecue at annieseatsblono.com. Give those Loud Bros a call, and they'll make sure your garage floor is slip-resistant and easy to clean with their garage floor coating service. At Loud Bros, they've perfected the art of elevating dull floors into captivating durable flooring. Their durable coating not only enhances the look, but it protects against stains and cracks. One might call it bulletproof. Loud Bros does not recommend shooting at the floor, but we totally support your Second Amendment right.
You don't need to be a member at Darnell's Gunworks and Ranges to practice your marksmanship skills. But if you like saving money, it's a really good idea to become a member today. For over a century, Darnell's Gunworks and Ranges has been the go-to destination for firearm enthusiasts just like you. Take advantage of veteran and first responder discounts and be sure to check out the benefits of a family membership at Darnell's Gunworks and Ranges. When it comes to firearms, experience matters. Learn more at DARNALLS.com.
Are you a problem solver? Do you enjoy helping others succeed? If this sounds like you, Cities 92.9 extends an invitation to check out an opening in our sales department. We're looking for people to partner with businesses to help them solve marketing problems and reach goals to make them successful. You will need to earn trust, build relationships, be highly motivated, and be able to work independently in a creative environment. Interested? Go to cities929.com and apply today. We look forward to hearing from you. Cities 92.9 is an equal opportunity employer.
The Fox Business Report is from INB's new Lockbox Lite, making it easier for businesses to get their banking done.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
AT&T says a hacker downloaded call and text message information covering almost all of its wireless subscribers, about 109 million customer accounts. The company says most of the data was from 2022. It was downloaded in April, but there's no evidence it was shared publicly. The records, the company says, do not include personal subscriber information such as names, credit card data, or social security numbers. AT&T says it's working with law enforcement, and at least one person has been apprehended. Dollar General will pay $12 million to the Labor Department to settle safety violations in its stores. The issues involve blocked emergency exits, electrical panels and fire extinguishers, and unsafe storage. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
If you had $1 million in 2009, today it would be worth less than $700,000. Thank you, big government. Hedge against runaway inflation with gold from Birch Gold Group. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. I trust Birch Gold, and you can too.
Text the word shelter to the number 989898 and get a free, no obligation info kit on gold. Text shelter to 989898 today.
Mark Levin here, and I'm live on Cities weeknights at 5. You won't want to miss a minute of the show, so download the app and stream Cities all day long. Cities 92.9.
Pass the SAVE Act now. Get your U.S. senators to pass this thing. It's the SAVE Act. It passed the House. The SAVE Act needs to be passed because when we talk about Joe Biden possibly running, not running, who is his running mate? Is it Donald Trump? Yes, he actually came out and said his running mate was Donald Trump. Hilarious. He called Donald Trump his vice president. Oh boy. But all of that doesn't really matter unless we pass the SAVE Act because we can't have phony fake elections and phony fake ballots out there. Okay. So in 2017, then Governor Bruce Renner, he signed a law that created the automatic voter registration program. Okay. So when Illinoisans apply for a driver's license, you are automatically registered to vote. Now, Rauner, he enacted the law to exclude temporary visa driver's licenses, but Governor J.B. Pritzker in 2023 signed legislation that allows non-citizens to apply and obtain a standard driver's license. So it makes it all that much harder to weed out non-citizens from this automatic voter registration drive. Okay, so Illinois, they've got this automatic voter registration in place, and we've got Mr. State Senator Ron Villalobos. He's a Democrat from Chicago. He's got this bill out there, and it expands that program, the automatic voter registration program, where if you apply for a driver's license, then you're automatically registered. It expands it to include IDs, and we know that non-citizens can also get IDs, and Governor J.B. Pritzker made it to where their ID looks almost essentially the same as a citizen's ID. The only difference is that their state ID says federal limits apply. So it looks exactly the same. It's valid for identification purposes here in the state of Illinois. So this is just another layer of potential fraud from Villalobos' law. But the bill also, this is the big one, what it does, it changes the opt-out process. So when you apply for a driver's license, you go to the DMV, you're automatically registered. Right now, there's a prompt, and it says, would you like to be automatically registered? Or you have to check a box, or somebody actually has to physically ask you if you want to be automatically registered to vote when you apply for a driver's license or get an ID. Now, we're switching that front end process to a back end process where nobody asks you, there's no box, there's no nothing to opt you out of the AVR, the automatic voter registration process. Okay, so advocates say that with the back end process, instead of the front end process, individuals are automatically registered to vote unless they put in an extra effort to fill out something like a mailer indicating that they don't want to be registered to vote. So you got to go through all kinds of hoops to just not register to vote. And Senator Curran, he brought this up. He's the Senate Majority Leader. And he says, look, it's our constitutional right to vote, but it's also our constitutional right to not vote. If we don't want to be on the voter registration roll, then we shouldn't have to jump through all kinds of hoops to not be registered to vote. It's very peculiar how they're trying to bloat. Really, that's what they're doing. I mean, it's almost clear as day, but they give stupid excuses. Like Ron Villalobos here, he said that he introduced this legislation because, having this front end process, it's just clunky and it makes for bad situations for immigrants to be put in these situations. They're interacting with government and they might not speak English, and it's difficult for them to have, quote, a hectic encounter in getting a question to either opt in or opt out. Many people will be able to have the opportunity to automatically be registered, and then on the back end, if they want to be opted out of that program, then there is a process for that. So apparently the Secretary of State says that there is going to be some sort of back end process that weeds out these non-citizens who are automatically registered to vote when they get their driver's license or ID. But they have to like what? You have to be kidding me. You're telling me to trust that agency. Yes, trust the agency. They'll take care of it. And I got to thinking about it, and it's like, what if the Secretary of State screws up and they say, Juan, he is a non-citizen, okay, and he goes and he registers, or he goes and applies for a driver's license, and he is automatically registered to vote. The Secretary of State is supposed to have a process that weeds his application or his registration out and takes him off of the voter rolls and doesn't allow him to go on to the voter rolls. There's supposed to be a process. Now, if that process fails, poor little Juan there, Juan didn't know that he had to opt out through this mailer and where he has to get a form and mail. He's probably doesn't speak English, right? Now he's committed a felony. Okay, if that Secretary of State system fails, now Juan has committed a felony, and these Democrats, they are trying to steal an election, bloat the voter rolls, because all they really have to do is bloat the voter rolls. If they bloat the voter rolls, it doesn't even really matter if the non-citizens go out to vote. All they need is the name, and then they can get mail-in ballots. And, a wine mom in Chicago who works with the Democrat Party of Illinois, if she is willing to do it, what she'll do is just take Juan's mail. He's on the voter rolls. He's registered to vote. You're automatically sent a voter, a mail-in ballot. If you're on the voter registration, you're automatically sent this mail-in ballot. You take his mail-in ballot and you vote for Juan. Okay, so, and Juan has no idea because Juan is a non-English speaking man, and he had no idea that he had to opt out of this AVR program, the automatic voter registration program. And now he's screwed, and now they're going to slap a felony on him. And Democrats are doing this at the expense of these people because they're trying to steal this election. They're trying to bloat the voter rolls. Okay, so that you have to have proof of citizenship to get a new job. You have to have proof of citizenship for a new job. You also have to show an ID to buy alcohol if you're not if you're under the, or if you're 21. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this because Biden has already come out and said that he's going to veto this thing, the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act is going to put a stop to all of what Illinois has been baking into the cake to try to steal this election, okay? Because what it would require is proof of citizenship at the poll and when you are actually voting, and that would put a stop to all of this. So we're going to chat about how, or really the reason why they're doing this is because they feel like they're losing the support of the American people, so they have to mobilize against the SAVE Act because all they've got is bloating these voter rolls and stealing the election. Okay, so I'll be right back. You're listening to Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. I'm also live on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel.
The news is brought to you by me, Ryan Skritzel of Skritzel Slabjacking. Here's some news. Most people wait until they trip and fall on sunken concrete before they call me. So call me before that happens, and I'll level with you on how to fix it.
The Normal Police Department announced Thursday in a press release the results of its stepped-up traffic patrols for the 4th of July holiday. In all, there were 79 traffic stops. Governor Pritzker touts his child tax credit as Illinois is among the worst for working-class families.
Pritzker touted that the measure, which was included in the budget he recently signed, would reduce childhood poverty, help Illinois' economy, and give back to families who need it most. State Representative Adam Niemerg pointed to the recent finance forecaster Kiplinger's analysis that shows Illinois is the worst place to live for middle-class wage earners.
We need to talk about reducing the income tax. We need to talk about property tax reform. We need to talk about all of these things.
Niemerg explained how he's in favor of reducing taxes, but he said the child tax credit program will not benefit Illinoisans as much as Pritzker says it will.
$300 tax credit for children if you make filing jointly under $75,000. And let's talk about middle class wage earners here in the state of Illinois that are really carrying all the water for the unlimited taxation that we have here.
I'm Katrina Peterson.
You can still make your donation for Seats for Soldiers campaign through the weekend by texting SEATS to 309-451-9299. News on the air, on the web, on your app, and on Alexa. I'm Tom Davis.
Cities 92.9.
Patchy fog, then mostly sunny today with a high near 85. Clear skies tonight, 67 the low. Chance of thunderstorms on Saturday with a high of 89. Saturday night storms at 72. Sunny and hot on Sunday with a high near 91.
This weather report is lifted by DH Pace Garage Doors, residential and commercial garage doors and entry doors since 1926. Schedule service at dhpacegaragedoors.com.
When you're trying to figure out what to eat for lunch or dinner, you have plenty of options. This radio ad can't share the mouth-watering aroma coming from the smokers at Annie's Eats or the tangy taste of their homemade sauce that hits the tip of your tongue. But know when you start thinking of filling your belly, you're now thinking about that award-winning barbecue that you can only get at Annie's Eats. Drool over their menu and place your order for pickup when you head over to annieseatsblono.com.
Good morning. This is Ryan Scritchlow, owner of Scritchlow Concrete Lifting and Slab Deck. Are you as disappointed as I am about the condition of our roads? Don't let your concrete at your home or business fall apart like our roads are. With proper care, your concrete surfaces will outlast our roads, and we can help. Give me a call at Scritchlow Concrete Lifting and Slab Jacking, and we can lift and repair all of your concrete surfaces. If I can't fix it, I'll level with you, but I'll always give you an option to fix your problem. So look us up on the web at scritchlow.com. I'm Ryan Scritchlow, and I approve this message. Hey, it's me again. You know Ryan Scritchlow with Scritchlow Concrete Lifting and Slab Jacking? Pretty sneaky to do back-to-back commercials, huh? Are you tired of that bump when you pull in your garage? Or has your patio settled and is causing water to get in your basement? Has your front steps settled and now your mother-in-law can't get in your house? Well, with one call to Scritchlow Concrete Lifting and Slab Jacking, we can fix all of your sunken concrete needs. That is, if you actually want your mother-in-law to be able to get in your house. If I can't fix it, I'll level with you, but I'll always give you an option to fix your problem. So look us up on the web at scritchlow.com.
We keep hardworking people working hard.
That's Kyle from Fasteners Etc.
Are you tired of running all over town for hardware and shop supplies to keep your facility running? With bin stock and industrial vending programs from Fasteners Etc., you always have the supplies you need on hand. We help monitor stock levels, deliver, and put away products so you don't have to. We can truly be a one-stop shop that you never have to visit. Fasteners Etc., your partner in inventory management. Find us on Facebook and at fastenersetceterainc.com.
Woo! Good morning. This is Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. Man, what a show! I so do appreciate you tuning in. Before we took the break, I was telling you a little bit about the SAVE Act. Yes. So the SAVE Act needs to be passed. It got out of the House. I hope it passes the U.S. Senate. Joe Biden is against this thing. He said he's going to veto it, which I don't understand why, because all it really does is just require proof of citizenship when you, go and vote. But he said the reason why he's against it is because, one, it's already law. Okay. And by that logic, should we be requiring people to show their ID in order to obtain alcohol? Because it's illegal currently to obtain alcohol if you're under the age of 21. But what we do, we require you show your ID to prove that you're 21. Okay, so you can drink alcohol. And he also cited administrative burdens. Okay. The Democrats, they'll say, oh, it's racist to do IDs. It's racist for driver's license because it's hard to obtain them or it costs money. Okay, you guys are the ones making it hard to obtain a driver's license. Did you know here in the state of Illinois, I have to pay like 10 to 20 bucks to get a driver's license, a new driver's license if I lose mine? Remove the fees then. Okay, I mean, they give free driver's license to ex-convicts through whatever program. So make them free then. Make it to where they are available for people to show their ID when voting in elections. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. That's the end of the show. Find me on YouTube. That's Conservative Cat Show. Just type it in your search bar. Bye-bye. Love you. Talk to you tomorrow.
This portion of the show is served